Can you guys hear me? Are you there? Testing, 1, 2, test. Testing my love for you. Test 1, test 2. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Alrighty. I'm just waiting to see that people can hear me on the live stream. YouTube comments, anybody? I'm not seeing any comments yet, so I'm gonna wait till I see somebody say that they can hear me. Come on. All right, there we go. We got somebody saying they can hear me. Perfect. All right, guys. A lot has happened in the last week. I apologize for my YouTube account getting suspended. Basically, there was a stupid video that I saw. There's a video that I saw where people are getting robbed in Brazil by motorcycle people, and they're basically getting held at gunpoint, and people are jumping on their motorcycles and just dipping out. And people in Brazil are starting to run these people over. And I showed like a minute and 30 seconds of camera footage about that stuff happening, and YouTube did not like it. So that was my bad, and it won't happen again. Everything should be good with my YouTube from here on out, because we're going to stick to the lawsuit, we're going to stick to Mullen, and all that good stuff. There's going to be a lot of information shared in this video. I really hope that everyone can really grab onto their attention span and listen to everything I have to say. It will be beneficial for you, for us, for America, for the world, I promise. This is the one place, this is like, I truly feel like this is the last stand for the retail investor. And we're either going to win this or we're going to get Agenda 2030. You'll own nothing and you'll like it. Well, I'm not going to like that. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we don't live in a world where the average person can't own something and have their rights upheld and all those good things. We do have a rule on this channel. It's no shills in the chat. So if you want to be part of this channel, if you want people to be able to see your comments, I strongly recommend that you think about what you're saying. The AMC greater than Mullen comment, that's borderline ready for me to ban already. I don't need to hear none of that. I think it's a garbage take, and we'll just move on with that said. Now, before I get into the lawsuit, one thing I'll say about the lawsuit is, if you're thinking about joining, you don't have to own Mullen to join and support the cause. You don't have to pay money if you're an investor and you want us to represent your damages. And like if we get a settlement, you'll get a piece of that settlement based off your damages in comparison to everyone else's damages. You do not have to donate money to the legal funds to participate in this. So I'll go over that, and I'll go over why it's important that you do donate and all these different things, but it is not a requirement. Part of this is raising money for the legal funds, but part of this is collecting as many damages as possible. So when I go to a jury, it's not just me showing, hey, I lost $200,000 to Mullen and I'm angry. No, it's here's $50 million of damages from 1,000 different retail investors, and everyone's pissed. So that, yeah, that's what I'll say about that. And then real quick, I'll get into Mullen. So as far as Mullen and the squeeze and all that good stuff, here is what I believe. I believe that they know that they have done wrong to us. I believe that they are worried about this lawsuit. There was a lot of Twitter attacks against me since I started announcing this. People saying, like, trying to get people to email them and talk about suing me and all this other stuff for financial advice, whatever. Like, if you want to sue me, go for it. Like, I'm not hiding. Like, I'll send you my address so you can send me the suit, all that good stuff. Um, there ain't nothing to worry about on my side. And I'll see you in court. It's as simple as that. If you don't want to join my lawsuit and you don't want to go get your damages, then like sue me and we'll see how that goes. Everyone has the right to do what they think is right, and I got no problem with that. But the fact that nobody was talking about this and nobody was worried about me until I started announcing this lawsuit tells me that I'm barking up the right tree. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. All right, Cold Trickle, you are gone forever. Later, noob. All right, so as far as the Mullen squeeze, I do believe that it's still on the table. So until, like, I'm 100% bullish on Mullen and the stock squeeze until or unless they announce that they've diluted over the original IPO numbers. The original IPO numbers in 2021 was 500 million common stock and it was 58 million preferred shares. So in theory, until we see over 558 million shares in the float, then I am still 100% bullish on the squeeze. And right now, the only benchmark that I care about is seeing, do we squeeze or do we go over that float? And if we go over that float while the price is still low, then at that point, I wouldn't blame you for doing whatever you wanted to do with your investment, and we'll still pursue the lawsuit. So that's my take on Mullen right now. I don't have much else to say about him. Hopefully they finally release the PR that they've been talking about for 2 months, but I'm not holding my breath for that. So, what else? So that's everything Mullen. Now let's go ahead and get started in the lawsuit. So in this lawsuit, I'm gonna go over everything that I've compiled so far, everything that I'm doing so far, all the support that I have so far, and then I'm gonna go over the documents that you have to sign in order to be a part of this lawsuit. And I'm going to explain them to you, and it's all to the best of my ability. So if you have a question about something that I'm saying, please ask it. I will do my best to give you the answer. If I don't know the answer, I will be happy to go and talk to my lawyers and find out what the right answer is. We need to understand that there's a separation between you joining my cause and assigning your damages to me and the lawyers that are representing me and the damages that end up getting assigned to me. It's not illegal, but it's not illegal. And what I mean by that is, like, when you raise money, anytime you raise money, the SEC can investigate it for any reason. And so I may come under some type of SEC investigation. I may come under a counter lawsuit from Mullen Automotive. No one really knows what's going to happen. And the whole point is that whatever's happening on that side of things, the lawyers that are representing me against Mullen will not be defending me if something were to arise. And I would have to find a different defense attorney if I so decided. I'm still buying Mullen options. I got some September 9th $1.50 strikes that filled for 5 cents a contract. Like I said, I think we could go over that. I think we could hit the max dilution of the original IPO numbers and squeeze. And I think we could do that before September. So I still like options. But if we do go over that original IPO numbers of shares, I will probably not like options anymore. So that's what I'll say about that. Now, in this process, there is, well, let's go over what I got so far. So I've created this little folder, and this explains well, this is my organization so far of what I have for the lawsuit. So if we look in here, these are all names of people that have signed the assignment and sent me back the documents that I needed in order to represent their damages. I am keeping a tracker of it here. And so I've blocked out the names here. Here are the email addresses. I'm tracking that. Here are the losses. So for everyone that has assigned their damages to me so far in just the last week, it comes to over $1.5 million in losses. This does not include my own losses or my brother's losses. Here are the contributions that have come in to pay the lawyer fees. So this $1,000 actually just came in like 30 minutes before the live stream, so I haven't sent that to the lawyers yet. But basically there's 500, there's 3,500, and there was 100. The 100 just came in as well, and it takes a second for my PayPal to process it, and so I haven't sent that to the lawyer either. But basically I've sent the lawyer $9,000. So it was 3,500, 5,000, and then $500 of my own money. And the lawyer has received $9,000 now, which is very positive. And they seem very excited and ready to work. They've already been doing some work for me for free, hoping that this was going to pan out. And just with this first $9,000, they're already excited about what's happening. And so I may have some more fields here that come in later. But basically I'm just trying to keep track of as much as I can. And if one day this lawsuit is representing 1,000 people and we are flush with cash, hopefully I will be able to assign this work of tracking and communicating with everybody to somebody else, because it takes a lot of my time just to take the assignments that they signed and print them out, sign them myself, scan them, and send them back. So with 14 people, it's not that bad. But if we end up having hundreds or thousands someday, you could imagine how much time that would take. So let's see here. I'm going to pull up well, let's go back here. So if I come back here, we have attorney documents. The lawsuit tracking is obviously the Excel file. Right here we have lawsuit filings. So there's nothing in here yet. But with that money that I've already sent the lawyer, he's starting to work on a preliminary complaint that we can use to file a preliminary injunction. And before that happens, probably not tomorrow, he said probably Monday, we are going to have a cease and desist order written up and sent to Mullen Automotive as a demand that they do not touch a single share from their newly acquired authorized shares. So all that dilution that came from July 26th, there's 2.25 billion shares that they just added to their disposal. We are demanding that they do not touch a single share, because we believe that they got those shares in a fraudulent manner. And in so touching those shares, they are guaranteeing to negatively affect the stock price. By selling one of those shares, they have guaranteed the stock will not squeeze as high as it would have without selling one of those shares. And so we are sending a demand saying you will not and you cannot touch these shares. And if you do, and you get found guilty in the court of law with the jury, there's going to be punitive damages for the damages that you've caused us, because they're unquantifiable. and they don't have the right to steal the squeeze from us, people. So we will be sending that out probably on Monday. And that alone, like, I can't guarantee anything, and I will speculate though. Um, Let me give you an example. So there was supposedly this person that came onto my YouTube back in the AMC days. She lost millions of dollars in GameStop somehow when it was squeezing. I'm not sure how that happened. But she came to my channel and she agreed. She still had like $3 million left. And I was YOLOing all of my money on this play that I saw. And she said, well, do you think I could do that? And I said, you definitely could do it. And there's no guarantees, but like I'm feeling super good about it. And in a way, I was right. So in this time that I lost $100,000 on AMC options that expired in 2 weeks, $500 million worth of retail buying power came in. And a week after I lost my money, it hit the price that I would have made at least 1,000% on my money. And so in my mind, I was right. They diluted $500 million worth of retail buying power. I knew that buying power was coming in. I could see what was happening on all the social medias. I could see it growing and building. And I called the perfect time of when retail was going to buy, and they bought big. And we should have got a great stock squeeze on that, and I should have made a fortune, but I didn't. And this lady ended up losing like $700,000 supposedly. And like there was never actually confirmation she made the trade or anything. But anyways, she like trades 400,000 YouTube subscribers, makes a video about me that weekend after I lose my money. She supposedly loses her money and basically rags on me, says I'm bad for the community, I need to go away, and tons of people, tens of thousands of downvotes, just all the negative comments you could imagine on my YouTube channel. And Trey said that he was going to be doing a live interview with this lady that supposedly lost this money, and that they were going to explain exactly what happened. Well, I sent a cease and desist to Trey Trades. Trey Trades never spoke to that lady again, never spoke about that lady again, never spoke about me again, and never made a video about me like he promised to his community. So what I'm getting at is that a cease and desist has power. Anytime someone gets a cease and desist, if there's any validity to it, a lawyer is going to tell them, you should really think about following this cease and desist, because if you don't, and this does end up in court, and you violated the cease and desist, and we get proven that we knew that the cease and desist had validity, punitive damages up the yin yang. And so that cease and desist on Monday, like if, oh, hang on. So that cease and desist on Monday that we send out, like if they were going to dilute over the original IPO numbers before the squeeze, this cease and desist may actually stop that. And it could be the cause of the squeeze. And so it's not guaranteed. It's a long shot, but it doesn't cost very much and it doesn't take very much time. So it's definitely something that we have to do. So that is step one of what we're doing. As far as like the lawsuit and donating to the cause, like every time there's an update, I'm going to be showing you guys the updates. I'm going to be showing you the work that we're putting in to give you the comfort, the peace of mind, whatever it is you need to know that you're not wasting your money here. And win or lose, regardless what happens, we are in this until the end. Like we're going to see this to its conclusion. We want to know what happens. And unfortunately, we live in a world where nobody ever takes it to court. No one ever goes to jury trial. If there is anything that's ever questionable, people always settle for pennies on the dollar and just recoup their losses. And that's not what's happening this time. Like when I go into first settlement, I'm asking for the world. And if they say no, I say, great, let's go to discovery and let's go to trial. I can't wait for my jury. Like that's my attitude going into this. It's full bull. It's It's full transparency to you guys, to Mullen, to everybody. I'm not hiding or holding anything back, and I'm putting it all on the table. And again, win or lose, this is something that's worth your time, I promise. It will tell us so much about this world. Now, let's go over the attorney documents and go over quickly exactly what you're signing, what it would mean if you decided to participate in this lawsuit, and all that good stuff. First thing I want to go over is a questionnaire. So if you do sign the assignments, I'll be sending them back to you signed as well, and then I'll be giving you an update of how you can donate to the cause if you so desire. And then I'll also be attaching this questionnaire form. And basically I go through here and I ask you, how much money did you lose? I ask you, how much of your overall net worth did you invest? Why did you invest? Were you planning on a long or short-term entry into the company? How was the price when you invested and when you sold? How much were you planning to make before cashing out? What were you going to do with the money? What did you believe the situation regarding Mullen insiders and stock price? Did you see manipulation? What did you think about it? When you saw the price dip, did you buy more? Why? Like, this is all information that we can submit to the courts. So when we get to trial, like, this doesn't have to be something you fill out right away, and not everybody will fill one out. But basically, this is something that you can fill out, and you can write your, like, I really don't recommend filling it out as written. I recommend more towards like free writing. Just read this stuff, kind of let it sit in your head for a while, and then write what feels right to you. So basically tell your story. And if we get dozens of these, hundreds of these, I think that'll be very powerful when we get to court and we get in front of a jury. Now, we have two assignments. One's the short form, one's the long form. Oh, it's probably not good. Alrighty, so this one says, I so-and-so, which is where you'd write your name, for value received, do hereby sell, assign, stupid Adobe. I'm probably going to have to buy Adobe for this, but right now I've been able to get around it. Give me a second. Let my Word document pull up. Freaking Adobe. Come on. All right, here we go. So it says, I so-and-so, that's where you'd write your name, for value received do hereby sell, assign, and set over to Marcus Ray of Tempe, Arizona, a certain claim or claims which I hold against Mullen Technology of Bray, California, and David Mishery, based upon fraud or improper rigging of shareholders or board of directors meeting on July 26, 2022, or concealment relating to the amount of voting stock available and possible breach of fiduciary duties to shareholders when it comes to announcements and use of float, authorized and unauthorized stock at key time periods, causing a loss to me. This is a short form to be used in lieu of a long form, which is the same thing with the attorney-client privilege and personal information embedded within and developed by Marcus Ray's attorney for purposes of obtaining attorney-client information for the lawsuit. The undersigned hereby asserts his attorney-client privilege to long-form assignment form executed contemporaneously herewith and identical except for confidential, proprietary, and attorney-client material. So basically, all you're saying here is that you sign your damages over to me, and you agree that I agree to protect you and your information in this process. Very simple, very short form, only 2 pages. 1 page really, the other page just the signing page. Now, the long form is slightly more intense. Now here you got to say your name, your address, and then it basically repeats what we talked about damages against Mullen Technology and you assigning those damages to me. Here you input how much you feel like you've lost between options and stock. It doesn't have to be a perfect number right now. If we ever get a settlement or if we win an award from the jury trial, we will basically have to validate everybody's actual purchases and make sure everyone gets exactly what they deserve. And I'll be going over what that agreement here is as we read it through the document. So it says, I hereby assign to Marcus Ray all of the right, title, interest in, and to any cause of action against the above named individuals and their aiders and abettors, co-conspirators, and participants arising out of the above stated circumstances with the full right to start and maintain an action in his name, Marcus Ray, on my behalf in any court of competent jurisdiction, and to settle, compromise, reassign, or otherwise dispose of such an action, and to give a release in my name and full discharge of the liability thereunder. So basically the liability that Mullen has towards you, you're assigning to me, same thing we've already said. They just like to repeat lots of things. I also do hereby constitute and assign and appoint Marcus Ray to be my true and lawful attorney in fact, irrevocably to demand, sue for, attach, levy, recover, and receive all such money and sums of money which are now and may hereafter become due, owing and payable as a result of the above scenario. I grant full power and authority to do and perform all and every act and thing whatsoever required to be done in furtherance of my interests as I might do, personally with full power of substitution, assignment, and revocation. I hereby certify and confirm all the said attorney in fact or his substitute shall lawfully do or cause to be done by virtue thereof. Now therefore, in consideration of mutual covenants and agreements set forth herein, Marcus Ray and the undersigned agree as follows. Now, right there, you're basically agreeing that I get full control over this lawsuit. Now here's the thing. Anyone can go sue Mullen Technologies for what's happening right now. I'm the only one that wants to. If I went and tried to file this as a class action lawsuit, there's no guarantee that I would be lead plaintiff. The judge gets to choose who the lead plaintiff is. So I'm not walking into a situation where I eventually have to just let somebody represent me, and personally, I just don't trust anyone to represent me. I trust myself, and I've been here since the beginning. I have never wavered. I've always been consistent about everything that I've said. Obviously, I've been wrong about timing and different things like that, and I apologize about that. But I mean, you can't question my integrity. If you're trying to question my integrity, I just believe that you haven't actually been watching, or you aren't actually a Mullen investor. Now, in consideration for this agreement, Marcus Ray will manage the lawsuit and work with the attorneys to further the case to maximum potential under the law with resources available. Upon a successful outcome or settlement, and after paying the attorney fees and cost of suit, and then after paying himself 10% of recovery of his work as assignee or attorney in fact, Marcus Ray will distribute the remaining proceeds as follows. So first off, that says if I go get $1 billion at the first settlement and I decide to take it, I'm going to get 100 million of that. The other 900 million will get split up as I explain it further in this document. Now, if we only have the $1.5 million in losses and we get that $1 billion settlement fee, well, when that 900 million gets split up, well, there's actually going to be, so 60% of that would go to the Mullen investors. So that $600 million would get split up proportionally to the $1.5 million of damages. And what that looks like is, if we just do a calculator, so we do 1.5, no, we'll do 600 divided by 1.5. In this scenario of getting $1 billion settlement, Yes, you would make 400 times your submitted losses, assuming they were accurate. After we check your buys and sells, if they were accurate, then you'd get 400 times whatever you filed as your losses. That's a pretty good deal. And you better believe I'm not taking any settlement less than $1 billion. And that's only if we only have 1.5 million damages, I'll think about it, but there's not even a guarantee I'll take that. Now, distribute 10% to those that contribute to the legal funds according to their percentage of contribution to the above described endeavor. So earlier I stated you don't have to be invested in Mullen to participate in this, and I'm setting aside 10% of all damages. So in that scenario of $1 billion collected, 100 million of that would get split up between everyone that donated to the lawsuit, regardless if they invested in Mullen or not. But if you didn't invest in Mullen, I still need you to fill out these documents before you, nobody gets to donate to the legal fund and have access to this 10% outcome unless they've signed these documents. And so this is an incentive to not only participate in the lawsuit, but also to contribute to the legal funds. Again, I believe this is the biggest lawsuit that's ever been taking place in America, and that 10% could be worth a pretty penny. Now, the remaining 60% to a pool of Mullen investors who assign their interest to Marcus Ray by executing this and associated documents, exclusively assigning the above described endeavor to him. Investors in this category are not prohibited from gratuitously contributing to the legal fund. However, a person in this category may also be a person in subdivision above and obtain a distribution both as a contribution but also as a regular investment under this subsection. And so this is just saying 60% of all anyone that assigns their damages, whether if they don't contribute to the legal funds, you still have access to, or you still have rights to 60% of whatever reward I can go collect for you. The other 20% that's not mentioned, it might be down here. Oh no, it's right there. Okay, so let me read C real quick. Any issues or doubts on how to distribute proceeds vest in Marcus Ray, who has the power to make final decisions about this and the direction and strategy of the case in his complete discretion. What is a person's pro rata share will be determined by Marcus Ray. This is important as there may not be any one right way to compare an option holder's interest with a stockholder's interest or any type of interest of the contributors. Marcus Ray will do as he deems appropriate. Now, any type of payout that's going to happen is going to have a very simple, logical, mathematical computation. It's as simple as that. So we're gonna look at how much money you lost in Mullen, and then I mean, here's the thing: this could turn into two different lawsuits. There could be one lawsuit for options. There could be one lawsuit for stocks. It'll probably start out as one lawsuit, but it could spread out into two as things develop. And so we really don't know how this is going to play out. But the only thing, again, that 60% is going to get split up proportionally to what you've invested or what you've lost. And as long as you trust the simple mathematical equation that you'll be able to verify yourself, it'll be so simple. There should be no problems there. Now, D says, if Marcus Ray believes it's in the best interest of assigners to be protected and represented in class action suit or derivative suit where Marcus Ray will not have to raise money through assignment vehicles to pay legal fees, but where law firms will take on the case for a pure percentage between 25 to 40%. At 40%, the contributor would only expect to make 40% of the final settlement. Then he has the right to switch it out and go another way. So what this is saying is it's possible that a judge could force this into a class action lawsuit. It's possible that we may get new information and we may get some type of idea as to why a class action lawsuit would be better. right now the lawyers get 20% of this agreement. So it goes 10% to me, 10% to people who contribute to the legal fund, 10% to me, 10% to contribute to the legal fund, 20% to the lawyers, and 60% to the investor with damages. Now, if it goes to a class action lawsuit, that 60% that you get for damages is going to drop to 40% most likely, and as the lawyer's fee goes up to 40%. But between that 25 to 40% is based off, I believe, the judge's ruling. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure like the lawyer doesn't just choose the percentage. I'm pretty sure there's a conversation from multiple sides that decide what the fair percentage is, and whatever that percentage is, it's coming out of your damages percent. So worst case scenario, you could see that 60% drop to 40% if it goes to class action. Now, contributors will still have the same right of contribution from proceeds and to be reimbursed out of recovery of attorney fees after attorney fees and costs as set forth in above, no matter what. So if you've already contributed, we go to class action, we no longer have to contribute, that 10% is still locked in to be paid out to you as your percentage of what you contributed. So if there's $100,000 that got contributed, if there's $100,000 that got contributed, then and you donated $10,000, then you would get 1% of that 10%, or you get 10% of that 10%, which would be 1% of the total claim. Let's see here. In addition, the following are conditions to this assignment. Contributors will be candid and cooperative with Marcus Ray in providing complete, accurate, and timely factual information, documents, and other communications relevant to Mullen's conduct or otherwise reasonably requested by Marcus Ray. Marcus Ray may rely on the client communications to Marcus Ray without independent verification. Contributors agree to be available at depositions, hearings, mediation, arbitration, or trial at their own expense. Contributors agree to appear at mandatory proceedings as determined by attorney or manager's litigation committee. So here's the deal. On our side of things, like, we are not going to force anybody to do anything. It is going to be a voluntary thing where, like, if you did one of the write-ups and we thought it was very useful and we thought you might be helpful to the eyes of the jury, we may decide to ask you to come, but you will have the right to say no. Now, at the same time, all of these documents are going to get submitted to court eventually, and so the other side will have the right to read and review all this information, and if they decide to subpoena somebody, there's nothing we can do to stop that from happening, and you will be required to show up. With that said, in current condition, where funds are not overflowing, currently people would need to be responsible for themselves for travel and all that stuff. But if I'm asking you to come out, it is because we do have overflowing funds, and we will definitely, like, we'll revise the information to where we can take some of that money and help people travel and all that stuff. Like, that is something that can happen. And if it's something where I'm asking you to participate and you're a willing participant, I would not ask you to do it out of your own pocket. But if we aren't flush on money and the other side wants you to be there and they subpoena you, you're going to have to do your best to show up. And if you can't show up, you're going to have to tell us why, and we'll talk to the judge about it and all that good stuff. But this is just kind of how the process goes. Like, no one knows exactly what's going to happen. We just got to take it day by day. Contributors will not rely on, nor is Marcus Ray providing investment, insurance, tax, accounting, or technical advice, or rendering business advice on other matters. It is his sole role to manage this lawsuit. The contributors will also not rely on any of the attorneys hired to provide such services. By signing this agreement and contributors acknowledge their intent to remain on the case through settlement or termination and to provide funding as requested by Marcus Ray from time to time. Failure to contribute to a funding call within 10 days of request can lead to a default on the required attorney fees and costs of suit and result in the dismissal of case or at least the withdrawal of the attorneys. So what this means is we pay money to the lawyer works, and then he takes from the trust account as he puts in his hours, he bills the trust account, and then that money goes to him. If he bills that trust account and there is no money in that trust account to pay him, he has the right to give us a 10-day notice that if he is not paid within 10 days, he will be submitting to the courts that we cannot afford the lawsuit and that he would like to be removed as the attorney. And in that process, the judge may decide to dismiss the case entirely. So that definitely should light a fire under you as far as like keeping up with what's going on with the court case and making sure we are funded enough and doing everything you can without hurting yourself financially to help us see this to the end. The more people that we get, the more people that join us. I mean, here's the thing. If 10 people join right now, another 10 people are coming. But if 100 people join right now, another 100 people are coming. So if you're sitting on the fence right now, like just sign the assignment documents, don't donate to the fund yet, but see what happens. But like the more people that sign the assignments, the more damages that we collect, the more people are going to look and the more people are going to want to be a part of it because they're seeing that it's something real. Just like when we file the send the cease and desist to Mullen Technologies, just like when we get the first complaint drafted and we file a preliminary injunction to go and ask a judge to force Mullen Automotive to not be allowed to dilute any of the newly authorized shares until the court case has been settled. And so all of those types of things are things that will get more people interested. And if you're hesitant, I mean, the one thing you shouldn't be hesitant is about signing the assignment. I can understand if you're got all your money invested and you don't want to sell anything and all that good stuff. Like I can understand people are in different situations and everyone's got to look at their own finances and say a prayer and find out what's in their heart and decide what's best for them. And if right now it's not contributing, that's okay. But by joining us and adding your number to the ranks, I promise you, you're still helping. Now, if that happens, then the contributors forfeit his or her share of distributions from any recovery, and it may result in the case being dismissed or terminated. Contributors understand this and accept this. The case is only as good as its finance to keep the lawyers going on this case. So basically, if we spend $25,000 and then there's no more money and the lawyer leaves and the judge dismisses the case, like that $25,000 is gone, the case is over, and like we lose. Like it's just as simple as that. And so it sounds a little rough, but like the real world is a little rough, and this is the way that it goes, and you just got to trust the process, people. In consideration of the described services to be rendered by Marcus Ray, contributors authorize Marcus Ray to take all steps in said matter deemed by him to be advisable and to effect a settlement or obtain an arbitration or court award in their favor. He has the absolute right to settle the case on terms and amounts he deems appropriate. I just don't believe there's a person in this world that will ask for more and demand more or a jury trial. Like there's no guarantee what's going to happen at a jury trial, but I can guarantee that nobody's going to ask for more before, like without seeing a jury trial. With the right amount of money that we all like get made to where we can go start our own EV company, or you can just disappear off the face of the land, or whatever it is you think you want to do with your money, like with the right amount of money, we don't need to spend 2 years in court. So I the biggest point on that is like I think you should have a lot of faith in me to be that person that knows what we're worth and what a fair value is to consider a settlement. Now, one thing you also got to consider is like we filed a cease and desist, we filed a preliminary injunction. If we win that preliminary injunction, there's a huge chance a huge settlement offer is coming. If we deny that settlement offer and they file a motion to dismiss, and then we win that, we answer and we win the motion to dismiss, then we get discovery. Before they give us discovery, before David Mishry shows us every tweet, every private message, every voice recording, every email, everything that is in his possession, before they do that, I suspect we'd get an even bigger settlement offer. And then once we get to discovery, once they start seeing, like once they send it all to us, we like, because they're either going to delete everything and say that they lost their files and pull a Hillary Clinton, or what they're going to do is they're going to overflow us and send us more than what we can imagine. And it's going to be something where it's going to be something where like we're going to need more lawyer funds to get lawyers to look over all of this information and find out, like find all the little nuggets that support our case. And so either way it goes, like if they overflow us with information, then we are going to find those nuggets, and then when we present that as like throughout the trial, they're still going to be hitting us with settlement offers, I promise. Well, I can't promise that, but it's their only option. Like they've never let a stock manipulation case go to trial. Everything ends in a settlement. They don't want this information out in the public. And so, yeah, I mean, all of that should make you feel very bullish about what we're doing here. Marcus Ray does not and cannot guarantee the result of the case. Any statement of Marcus Ray's views or beliefs concerning claims or causes of action and the results of that might be anticipated at any time during the course of raising money or this lawsuit are intended to be an expression of opinions, views, and beliefs only based on the information available to Marcus Ray at any given point in time, and you should not and cannot be construed by Marcus Ray's as guarantee of any type. The same thing applies as to any attorneys hired by Marcus Ray or working on this case. I mean, I've stated that several times already. I can't promise you anything other than there is value in what we're doing, and win or lose, this is a worthy fight. That's all I can promise. Same thing with the attorneys. They can't promise to force a lawsuit. Like they have a duty and obligation to only pursue legal cases with validity. Now, if you've been in MULN as long as I have, and you've been watching everything going on, and you've been watching David Mishry tweet out about a short squeeze about to happen, share YouTube videos saying that MULN is going to short squeeze, coming out saying that the whole Q2 thing, saying they're going to have a major announcement in Q2 or the end of Q2, and then now we're a month and a half out since then and still have received nothing. Like if you've been watching everything happen, like again, there's no guarantee there's a case here, but man, it sure feels like it. All right, upon termination of attorney services, any unused funds remaining in the account will be returned to contributors per their pro rata share. So if we have $50,000 total and you sent $5,000 and there's $10,000 left over, and for whatever reason this case was done, whether it's a settlement or something else, that $10,000 is 20% of the 50,000. So you would get, and if you put in 5,000, you would get 20% of that back. You would get $1,000 back. Contributors agreed to cooperate fully with Marcus Ray and promptly provide all information known or available to contributors that may be relevant to Marcus Ray's representation. This agreement shall terminate upon the written notice of Marcus Ray, which will terminate immediately and relieve attorneys and Marcus Ray of any further obligation to work this matter, with no obligation to refund any monies paid towards her attorney fees or costs, but any unused money to be returned per their pro rata share. I mean, you don't got to worry about me terminating this. Like, I can't promise a lot of things, but one thing I can promise is as long as we got funding, I will be here. The only way that this is not happening is if the lawyers say that they have an obligation not to take this to court because there's no case, or it's all hearsay or some garbage, or we can't afford the lawyers, and we run out of money. So that's the lawyer put this in there, but that is what it is. I'm not worried about it. Miscellaneous. The terms and conditions contained in herein supersede all other prior and contemporaneous written and oral agreements and understandings between Marcus Ray contributors, and contains the entire agreement between Marcus Ray and contributors, which can be modified only by subsequent written agreement. All parties acknowledge that no promises have been made other than those stated in these writings. This applies to any comments made by any attorney. If any provision of this agreement is held in whole or in part to be unenforceable for any reason, it shall be severable with the remaining terms and conditions fully enforceable. So just imagine that we get 1,000 people. Like, imagine we get 100 people in the next 30 days, but we get 1,000 people in the next 3 months. The people that come in the first 30 days, the people that contribute and get us to the preliminary injunction, get us to the first complaint, and then they file a motion to dismiss, we answer, and assuming we win that, and now we're guaranteed discovery, at that point, everyone who's contributed and a part of this has done so much for the for the good of humanity that the people coming in later, like, they owe you. And so the deal is going to be revised. Like, if you get in now, you lock in that 60% rate. But if we go through all this work and spend all this money, like, it may drop down to 50 or 40% for new people coming in that later time. And contributions may get separated a little bit differently at that time as well. Because if we got 1,000 people, you better believe we got $1 million in contributions. You better believe that. And so if we have $1 million in contributions, whether it's hiring more attorneys, whether it's me becoming full-time on that job with the attorneys, whether it's potentially even paying back the early contributors, like, anything's on the table. And like, I'm going to have that conversation with the contributors, and whatever feels right, whatever everyone agrees to, I'll hold these little votes. If you sign these things, you get access to a private Discord where only people who have signed these assignments will have access to. And we get to have private conversations about the lawsuit, about really anything that you want. And yeah, I guess I'm just trying to stress the urgency of being an early adopter. Not only are you locking in a better deal for yourself, but you're helping motivate people to come in later on. You're pushing this to a process where people can see that we're getting traction and good things are happening. And if it gets strong enough, if this movement, this lawsuit becomes strong enough, like, the financial burden you've taken on to help this happen, 100, like, it can be relieved. Like, again, I'm going to wait to see how everyone feels about any of the options that I just talked about right there. And I'm not going to do anything that everyone's just totally against. But like, everything's on the table and can be revised for new agreements for new people coming on. But the old people, they're locked into the best deal. One thing that I'll say, like, and this isn't to rag on the lawyer, this is just the way the world works, people. You've got to understand how the world works. Like, when I told the lawyer to write up this agreement for me, and I told him 60% to people that don't contribute, he sent me this agreement saying that 60% goes to the contributors. And he says, why would you give these people with damages that aren't contributing to the lawsuit all this money? And I said, trust me, bro. Like, this is about bringing the people together. This is about giving them something they can't refuse. If you go and you try to, like, investigate lawsuits, like, there's not very many that, like this one. But if you go and investigate, like, you're going to see this is a hell of a deal. And I am trying to lay all the cards on the table and make this irresistible for everybody. And I'm doing a shit ton of work for free because I know that it's worth it. That leads me to want to discuss, like, I have experience in this, people. Like, this agreement came from me telling him what I needed in order to go raise money so that I can hire a lawyer. And where did I come up with this idea for this agreement? Well, 4 years ago, I was a public adjuster, so I represented people through insurance claims on their property damage. So if you got property damage, you called your insurance and they didn't treat you right, you called me to make sure you got paid. And I had this one client, a business complex. It was, I want to say 600,000 square feet of roofing that was damaged and not paid for by the insurance. And I paid. So I went to I met with the insurance company. They fought me. They said no, 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 multiple times, probably 5 or 6 times. I met with them and looked at every building with them and gave them my reasoning and all that good stuff. And then ultimately they wouldn't pay, and I knew that they were supposed to pay. And so what did I do? I went to the association for the building and I said, sign this assignment. Give me your rights to sue your insurance company and I will build your roofs right now before I even get to the lawsuit. And so I spent $300,000 out of my pocket, my company's pocket. Me and my brother were partners, and we built those roofs. We got them to sign the assignment. I went first mediation, like, I'm not going to lie, we were struggling. That $300,000 was not easy. That was like we were scraping by just to make this happen. The first settlement, they gave us $730,000 on top of the $200,000 they already paid. So we got $930,000 by doing this, and it was 100% my idea and just a logical decision to make. I knew we had them by the balls, and I wanted to force the issue and prove it, and I did. If I had more money, I would have taken that to court, and I would have got $5 million from a jury. There's no doubt in my mind. But we were literally, like, running on fumes, and that $730,000 saved the company for sure. And so, like, unfortunately, I had to settle in that situation. I hope this is not going to be one of those situations. I hope we're flush with cash here. But what I'm trying to express to you is that I have experience with this. When I first started my roofing public adjusting company, this guy we hired to come on and be like head manager, and we were talking about giving him ownership and all this other stuff. Well, he from the beginning was texting his brothers and other business partners saying they're going to start their own roofing company. They're going to steal everything from us, and they're going, and we're stupid, we're idiots. Like, we subpoenaed them. We filed a lawsuit. We filed a preliminary injunction. We were pissed, and we got text messages of them just day after day ragging on us, talking about how stupid we are as they're taking our money. Now, they were broke. They didn't have any money. Our company ended up being wildly successful. They went out of business 6 months later, and we ended up settling that case just a couple months into it because they didn't have nothing that we could take. Like, there was no question they were guilty, and they were dishonest, and they were mean people. And, like, they deserved to be ridiculed and tried in court, but there was nothing to gain from it, and we were young kids just starting a company, and we weren't gonna sacrifice the life of our company on some stupid idiot. And so, again, going through that process, it brings me here today. I know what to do against Mullen right now. I know how to lead these lawyers to exactly what I want, where we're doing every possible avenue of successful litigation, to where we're getting as many updates as possible, as fast as possible. We're getting judges to try and hear our case and hear how important it is and why they should take immediate action and rule in our favor of the cease and desist to where they can't, like they're literally, imagine we go to preliminary injunction and the judge says, you cannot dilute any of those 2.25 billion shares you just authorized until this court case is settled. That's public information, people. The whole world would hear that. They already know retail owns at least 400 million shares. That means there's 100 million shares left, and they can't dilute more if they wanted to. What do you think that's going to happen to the stock price? They're either going to freeze it, and they're going to say until this court case is settled, but then that just brings everybody to the table. I mean, if everybody's money gets frozen, everybody's now going to assign their damages to this lawsuit. Like, there's no way that this loses, people. And so, I really think this can force the squeeze on its own. But on top of that, like, the jury trial, the discovery, it's more important to me than the money. Like, I want the world to know how much these rich people hate retail investors, hate poor people, hate middle-class people. I know that they talk shit about us every single day behind their back. And I want the world to know. All right, so there's some miscellaneous stuff. Did I read this one already? I believe so. Yes. All right, let's go to the next part. So this agreement will be governed by the internal law and not the law pertaining to the choice or conflict of laws of the state of California, except to any extent required by the rules of professional conduct. With that said, let's go here. Let's see here. Got a couple haters I got to ban real quick. Haters. Somebody says, hi, what do we need to do to be part of this lawsuit? If you go into the description of this video, just read that description. That will get you started. N. Hill says, can I sue Aaron, AMC's CEO, next? I will say this. I filed a cease and desist again with the AMC Investor Relations email saying that they have to cancel the ape dividend. I believe I just ensured that AMC is going to squeeze again, probably 300 to 400%. So you're welcome for that. But if they do end up following through with the ape dividend, I have set up a precedence for you guys to sue them for it. And I'm not going to put much time into that at all. But if the AMC investors are serious about that and they lose money after the ape dividend with dilution and all this bullcrap, I've set up a situation to where if they end up following through with the ape dividend, they are in, and it hurts investors, they are in for royal trouble. And so we can talk about that later, but honestly, I expect them to cancel the ape dividend. I think you'll see it next week. They're going to come out and say that they've had a change of heart and that due to some legalities, they can no longer offer the dividend and yada, yada, yada. So what I wanted to show you real quick was this, and okay. Here we go. So this is the lawyer that I have hired, the law firm that I have hired to defend or to take action against Mullen Automotive. They are located in California. I believe it's Long Beach. Let's see here. Yep, Long Beach, California. They are in the same jurisdiction as Mullen Automotive. So all court filings, like both us and Mullen Automotive will be filing to the same courthouse. And he's a 20-minute drive from Mullen Automotive. So yeah, I only brought that up because we were talking about California California law. Alrighty, so notices. Wait, let's. Yep. This agreement will be Yep. Okay. So notices. Notices given to the email addresses used by contributors at the time shall be sufficient notice for all purposes. If other investors become a contributor, the contributor must provide an email address for notice purposes for this paragraph. Just basically saying, I have your email, and if I need to get a hold of you, I'm able to. The undersigned hereby asserts his or her or attorney-client privilege proprietary information in this long-form assignment. The short form executed contemporaneous herewith is available all public purposes to prove the assignment. Now here I sign and date after you've sent me back your date and your signature. And then if you're investing through a trustee or a company, you can use this part, which is optional. Yeah, that's the two forms. All you have to do is fill out this form where you put in, so you put in your name, your address, your losses, and then you sign and date it and you send it to me. And then the other one, you just do your name, sign and date. You send both of those to me. I am able to sign them, send them back, give you instructions on how to contribute if you want to, and you will have everything you need from there. Now, we have raised $9,000 so far, and I've already paid the lawyers $9,000. I have recently spoke to the lawyer. A couple things that are going to be happening. One, he's going to be getting me an assistant, and basically this assistant is going to work with me, and I'm probably going to live stream this work on YouTube as well, so you guys can see that I am working, that I am giving this everything that I have, just to boost your confidence and all that good stuff. But basically, we're going to be going back all the way to the IPO of Mullen Automotive. Every news article, every time David Michery said something online, every time he went on an interview, everything that we can find Mullen Automotive, and we are going to dissect and organize everything into a public discovery folder, and everybody will have access to this, where they can see all the details of Mullen Automotive over the last 5-6 months, and then we'll go back to the IPO, but there just wasn't a lot between the IPO to February. But we'll collect all that information, and that discovery, that public discovery that we organize, is going to be used by the head MULN lawyer to help write his complaint. And once we have the complaint finished, then we can file the preliminary injunction and try to get a judge to force some control on those newly diluted shares that Mullen, I believe, stole from us. Let's see here. One other thing that I spoke to him about, he is not part of raising the money. So the lawyer, MULN law firm, is not part of raising the money. They are not here to solicit you. They are not here to represent you through any type of anything other than the Mullen damages. And so, with that said, I do want you guys to know who they are, what they are, how they speak, all that good stuff. And so right now we're still tight on fumes. Like, that $9,000 doesn't go a long way. That'll get us a cease and desist and a very, very rough draft complaint, and maybe a little bit into the public discovery portion of it with their assistant. But outside of that, once we hit $25,000 in donations, so we need $16,000 more dollars, the MULN lawyer, the owner of the law firm, is going to come onto my YouTube. It'll either be a Zoom meeting or a phone call, and he is going to speak about who he is, what he is, his experience, all that good stuff, and then he'll answer any questions that my viewers have. And we're probably, like, the only thing that'll be off the table is the Mullen lawsuit. He doesn't want to speculate on the lawsuit before things have progressed. And so until then, he's happy to come on and give a little bit about himself and all that good stuff. And I just feel like that'd be a good way for you guys to see who's representing you, and maybe build some confidence. Again, if we look back at this tracker, we have $1.5 million in losses assigned so far. I have probably another $500,000 of losses of people that have hit me up that just haven't finished filling out the documents, but seem very interested. And so we're probably pretty close to $2 million already. If you count me and my brother, it's $2,250,000 in losses. And if everyone could just find a way to donate 1% of what they've lost into this legal fund, we'll have more than enough money of what we need to do to get this started and get it to a point where those other 1,000 investors that are sitting on Mullen right now thinking, why is this taking so long? Why is David Mishry so quiet all the time? Why have we been misled several ways, several times? If you guys, if I build it, you come, right? But if you come, people follow. And yeah, so I guess this is just my last plea, sign the documents, and if you have any faith in what we're doing here, contribute what you can. Don't put yourself in pain. Don't hurt yourself doing this, but sit down, look at your finances, think about what's happening here, and honestly consider what you can and are willing to invest. And I would appreciate it so much. With that said, I think the last thing that I'll touch on is myself. I'm sure a lot of you guys seen my Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is Mullen is Retail. So at Mullen is Retail, MULNISRETAIL. And it says GP Mullen is my name above that. You guys probably see me post some things that maybe sound erratic. You guys probably see me talk down to some of my haters that maybe seems unnecessary. All I can tell you guys is that for 5 months now, and for every day after this, this isn't just an investment for me. This isn't just a game to me. I literally feel like I'm fighting a war here. And I felt that way since the beginning of the Mullen squeeze. I felt that way during the 2021 AMC squeeze. And I feel like my life is on the line for this. I feel like America's freedom is on the line for this. And sometimes, depending on what people say, it drives that emotion out of me. Where I am here to fight. I've been here to fight since the beginning. And I don't recommend that you guys fight. I don't recommend that you guys try to embody what I'm doing. That's not what we need. We need you guys bringing people together. We need you guys sharing the message. We need you guys supporting the lawsuit, tweeting about the lawsuit, and sharing about the lawsuit, and giving your opinions on how you feel about the lawsuit, and reaching out to people that you know that are invested in the Mullen and explaining to them why they should be part of this lawsuit. You guys need to be bringing in the people, and let me be me. I'm never going to be anyone than who I am. I'm not going to change myself for anybody. I feel good in my soul. I feel like I am on the right track, and I know I'm not perfect, and I know that I've said some stupid things that just looks super amateurish and immature, and all I ask is that you forgive me for it. I don't know how else to say it. Are there any questions? Anyone on Twitter Space Call want to say something? Go ahead and request to speak if you have something to say. this lawsuit is good for Mullen's stock price and is good for Mullen long term. Because ultimately what we're suing for, we're not just suing for a cease and desist on those shares. We're suing so that we can take all 2.25 billion shares that they newly authorized and put it and then separate it between us proportionally to our investments as our damages. Like my main goal out of this, outside of the discovery and exposing the frauds and the crooks and the evil people that are running this world, like outside of that, for you guys, my main goal is that you own Mullen Technologies. You literally get to hold a vote, and anyone gets to show up and say, I should be the CEO of Mullen. And they all give their case for 30 to 60 days of why they're the best person to run the company. And then you guys, with your 2.25 billion shares that we get the court to award us, you guys get a vote on how this company is run. The company with the best battery tech, the company with Fortune 500 partnerships, the company that has all this retail potential and this beautiful retail car that they told us was coming out in 2023 or 2024, and now they're telling us 2025. And they're only push that back to make themselves seem less appealing. Like if you've been following like I have, you know that to be true. But like again, they'll come like I'll collect all that data in the public discovery, and I'll be able to like I'm gonna make updates with the public discovery, showing you what I found and how it all connects together, and where they start changing their tunes, and how every change of tune is always to make the retail investors suffer. I don't know if Mullen is aware of this lawsuit. As far as how will they prepare, you really can't prepare until you know what you're up against. So when we send the cease and desist, they won't really they'll look at it and they'll decide, are they going to cease and desist on dilution or are they not? And then once we get to a preliminary injunction, that's when we'll also have sent them our complaint. And from there, they can't work on an answer to our complaint until they've read our complaint. And so right now, they're probably just sitting back praying that I quit and give up and just say this isn't worth it or something. But I mean, if you've been watching me, if you know me, that's just not who I am. It is not who I am. I see things through. All right, we got a request from a speaker. Go ahead, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate the space. I have a quick question for you, bro. I have cash settling. The most I can probably give is like $50. Is it too late if my cash settles on Monday to donate to your lawsuit?
Bro, we're gonna be collecting donations for the next probably 3 months until we the deal I signed with the lawyers was that in 100 days I got to get them $70,000, and right now they're willing to work with what I can collect as I collect, but I got to get $70,000 in the next 100 days to guarantee that this makes it to trial. So anything that you can give, $50 works, man. If we get 100 people to do $50, that turns into a lot of money real fast.
Okay, fast. Thank you.
Yep, I appreciate the question. Let's see. I'm going to read some of these comments real quick and see if they're questions. Share assignment causes dilution without actual influx of the money those shares should generate. How does this benefit the company or shareholders? Sounds like bankruptcy to me. I'm not sure what you're saying right there, Eric. I'm sorry. It almost sounds like you're talking about AMC. If you can reword the question, I'll be happy to answer it. Modern Saints says, keep it up. You're the only person in the world who sees what's happening and know how to fight. I'm all in with this battle with you for as long as it takes. Can't express my gratitude and confidence. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that needs to be said? I think we said it all. I hope you guys enjoyed the message. I hope you guys share the message. I hope you guys sign the assignments. If you go to my YouTube and go to this video, go to the description, you can see at the bottom of the description where the assignments are, and you just got to print those out, sign them, send them back to me, and you're all done. If you decide to donate after that, great. If not, like, that's okay too. So we got another speaker. Oh, it's not letting me up. Okay. Are you there, James? Oh, looks like let's see here. I'm trying to let James speak, but the approve button's not working. There we go. All right, James, go ahead. What would you like to say, James?
Am I coming through?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I left a voicemail for you the other day. I'm the one that has the conversation with the IR lady.
For sure. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you, man.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. No problem. I work out hours too. I got stuff in my life going on. But yeah, it's a lengthy. I have an app on my phone that records all conversations, so
Nice.
it kind of inadvertently recorded the conversation with her. And this was in like February 2nd, roughly. So this is before a super financing was known about, I believe. Well, before I knew about it, let's put it that way. And I was asking her, is the company, and I've been in enough stocks earlier that I educated on stocks and things like that. I asked her, I said, is the company involved in any type of toxic financing? And she says, well, she kind of seemed baffled. I said, but do you know what toxic financing is? She says, no, I don't know what that is. And I explained to her, and unknowingly, I gave her the exact description of what a Susa was doing. I said it's when the company will issue stock to a financial institution who then will take and turn around and sell that stock and depress the price for nefarious reasons.
Yeah, I mean, we know that they got at least. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's like, no, there's none of that I know of going on. Nobody has, so no insiders are selling shares, nothing like that. She says, no, we're all baffled just as much as everybody else as to why the stock is being driven down. Yeah, and then literally like 2 weeks later, it came out about the Asuso.
Yep. And I mean, the biggest part about that is how toxic the financing deal was. They were able to take 60% of the company for loaning out $50 million. What a joke. They took out 300 million shares through their freaking warrants to dilute the price. And it's like the dilution of the price is one thing, but like what really pisses me off is they took $500 million of retail money to sell all their shares, and Mullen Automotive only got 100 to 200 million of that. Total scam.
I can see if you guys want to hang in the room. I can see if I can get that to play over this, and you can hear that little snippet.
I would prefer that you send that to me. We add it to the discovery, and then like when I do my discovery update videos, we'll take the parts that are most compelling. But that's definitely something I would like to have in my files.
Okay. My wife's kind of on the fence about what I should do. She's like, she's not sure if we should get involved in any type of litigations, or sign up for anything. So that's why I haven't sent it to you yet. It's kind of, is it worth the battle on the home front? Also with the stock front, it's like I'm going to be getting it from all different litigation issues.
I hear you, man. A lot of people have reached out to me saying that like they're part of trust funds with their family and stuff, and those people and their people don't want to get involved in any legal entanglements, and like I understand that. And all I can say is like this is the most worthy fight out there. If you're ever gonna put something on the line, I don't think there's a better opportunity than this.
Well, I also have a conversation with with some people, maybe like yourself, but I was always under the understanding that a transfer agent was able to give you the authorized outstanding or float of the company what they represent. I mean, do you guys know, is that a true statement, or is that
Can you repeat that question again?
the transfer agent that represents MULN, they should have no problem giving me the authorized, the float and the
Gotcha.
of the company, right?
Yeah, I mean, so what I'll tell you is that since this started, basically on March 14th was the first real dilution announcement that we got. And that's when Ortex announced that the float was 150 million shares and the retail or the insiders owned 38 million shares. And then after that, we got another update on March 28th, and they announced it was something like they announced the outstanding shares and they announced the float. And since then, every single dilution announcement has never come with a float update. So that will definitely be part of the lawsuit, as we'll be suing because they are not giving full disclosure on their filings. And I don't think there's any more damning proof than something that they were showing and they were filing beforehand. But because that information is valuable to retail investors to see how much retail is buying, they cut it out of the filings. And for me, that really pissed me off.
Yeah, and the transfer agent was refusing to give me that information.
Yeah, I don't know about what transfer agents are required to do or not, but I know that Mullen went from giving us that information to not giving us that information, and that's unacceptable to me.
That's what I mean. The company isn't handing it over, and the transfer agent. I mean, it's like I told the guy, that's public information. There's
Right. Full disclosure is a requirement from publicly traded companies. That is not full disclosure.
So yeah, I was a little taken back when he said, "Well, if that's public information, then go to the public and find it." I'm like, that's basically what he told me. I said, "You represent the company. I'm a shareholder.
For sure.
I'm just asking to put the public information on the company you represent. So,
I hear you.
but I'll finish the conversation with my wife. Make sure that we're doing the right thing by us.
For sure.
And I'll contact you again. I'll get that. I have it on my computer, and it's in quite a weird file format. It's not an MP3. I don't know. I can't even play it on my computer. But I can figure that part out too.
Yeah, I mean, we can figure that out. Like, I'm not really in a hurry to get that information until I get, because I probably won't be starting that discovery gathering process until sometime next week. And so Go ahead and take the weekend, relax, all that good stuff. But if we can figure it out next week or maybe a little bit after, that'll be perfect.
Okay, yeah, it's an AMR file. I can play it on my computer. I gotta try and see if I can reformat, convert it over to an MP3 or something. I'm sure I can. I'm sure there's.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could, whether you convert it or whether, you did a space call and just played the whole recording and then I had it recorded, I could load it up on, I could record it. I don't know. There's ways that we can figure it out, and I'm sure my legal team has lots of experience taking weird files and making them compatible for whatever they're doing. So if you're super interested in doing that, I appreciate it, and we will definitely find a way to get it done.
Okay. Yeah, if it's something that I can, without getting into arguments at home, because let's face it, if I do it and something goes sour, I'm never going to hear the end of it the rest of my life.
I hear you.
But in my view, it's pretty damning. I mean, it's the company investor relations who should know, saying there's no type of toxic financing like that.
Well, here's the thing. Mullen Automotive could have raised $2 billion with their 500 million shares by letting it squeeze and then selling and diluting at the top. And they chose not to do that to stop retail from getting paid. And then they went a whole step further and stopped retail from being able to buy every single share by increasing the dilution by 400%. And so, like, if we let this stand, you better believe that retail will never get a squeeze again, because every company will copy what Mullen Automotive has done here today. And so, yeah, like I said, for me, this is a fight worth fighting for, and I'm putting all my cards on the table.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the stock that was net element. I've been when it was like $1.50 when it was net element at $1.50.
Nice.
And I held it. So I mean, I've been in this for since the beginning.
For sure.
And I've accumulated, so it's not something I think lightly. So
I hear you, man, and I'm sure you guys will have a lot of conversations about it. And all I can say is I hope you join my team.
okay, well, you have my number, I have yours, and I'll have that discussion with her, and I'll contact you back.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, we've been live for an hour and a half. If no one else wants to jump up and say something, I'll just repeat it one more time. Go to my YouTube video, click on the description, read that description, and then at the bottom you'll see the link to get the assignment documents. Get me those assignment documents, and then I'll send you some information along with the information on how to contribute. That's all there is, people. I hope you join me.